No, no, no. Don't close the door. What's going on?
Sorry, the dogs.
No, no, no. Don't close the door. What's going on? What's going on?
With what?
You Shay?
I am Shay.
Right. Strange, interesting call about somebody having had their throat slit.
Okay.
So what's going on here?
No, that's,
a dog,
that's
is it?
my dogs, yeah.
You're under arrest on suspicion of murder. You do not have to say anything, and it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. The necessity for your arrest is for a prompt and effective investigation.
In the quiet town of Havant, Hampshire, in England, the disturbing case of Shay Groves unfolds, a tale marked by obsession, jealousy, and a fatal descent into violence. Groves, a 27-year-old with a deep-seated fascination for the macabre, transformed her interest in true crime into a gruesome reality, culminating in the brutal and violent murder of her boyfriend, Frankie Fitzgerald. Shay Groves was not just a casual fan of true crime, she was deeply engrossed in the world of the most notorious killers in history. Her home in Havant, Hampshire, served as a chilling museum to her obsession, with walls adorned with framed pictures of infamous serial killers like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Yorkshire Ripper, Pete Sutcliffe, Moore's murderer, Myra Hindley, and Rose West. These were far more than mere decorations. They were idols to Groves, symbols of a dark and twisted admiration that went far beyond normal fascination. She immersed herself in the lore and details of her favourite killers, understanding their methods, their motivations, and crucially, how they were caught or evaded capture. This disturbed education would later play a role in her own descent into murderer. Groves wasn't content to remain a spectator in the world of true crime. She aspired to join the ranks of those she so idolized, and Frankie Fitzgerald would become her unwitting victim. Groves and Fitzgerald's relationship was fraught with complex dynamics, including a shared interest in BDSM. However, beneath this mutual exploration of dark fantasies lay a ticking time bomb of jealousy and manipulation. The catalyst for the murder was rooted in jealousy and possessiveness, emotions that spiraled out of control when Groves discovered Fitzgerald was messaging a teenager whom she mistakenly believed to be just 13 years old. This discovery ignited a fury in Groves, propelling her toward a decision that would irreversibly change many lives. Armed with knowledge gleaned from her true crime studies, Groves began to plot Fitzgerald's murder with chilling precision. Groves' preparation was meticulous, drawing on the twisted tactics of the killers she so admired. She understood the importance of an alibi, the manipulation of evidence, and the psychological warfare waged by serial killers to manipulate and control their narrative. She planned not just to kill Fitzgerald, but to stage the aftermath in a way that would, she hoped, divert suspicion and allow her to relish in her actions without immediate consequence. On the fateful night, as Fitzgerald slept, Groves launched her attack, stabbing him 22 times in a frenzied assault that ended his life. The murder weapon, a Celtic dagger that Groves claimed was for her rituals, hinted at the depth of her obsession, not just with true crime, but the ritualistic aspects often associated with some of the most gruesome killings in history. After the murder, Groves' actions were cold and calculated. She reached out to a friend, boasting about the killing, and attempted to construct an alibi, leveraging the knowledge she had acquired from her true crime obsession. She showed no remorse, no second thoughts, only the grim satisfaction of someone who believed they had transcended from fan to participant in the true crime world. The grim discovery of Frankie Fitzgerald's body and the subsequent police response unravel a pivotal chapter in the shocking murder orchestrated by Shay Groves. The night of July the 17th marked a sinister turning point in Havant, Hampshire, as law enforcement were led to Groves' residence, a scene that would starkly contrast the quiet of the community with the brutality of the crime committed within its walls. The discovery was precipitated by a chilling video call Groves made to her friend Vicky Baitup in the early hours, where she gleefully confessed to the murder. During the call, Groves nonchalantly displayed Fitzgerald's body covered with a duvet and revealed a deep cut to his neck area, a horrifying testament to the violent act she had committed. This act of sharing the crime with her friend wasn't just a moment of perverse pride for Groves, it was a calculated move to establish her fabricated alibi, showcasing her manipulative prowess and her deep dive into the machinations often glorified in the true crime narratives she obsessed over. She attempted to convince her friend that she had in fact killed Fitzgerald in self-defense. However, her disturbing behavior, including alleged giggling while showcasing the body, paired with the fact that she had not notified the authorities, must have sparked a deep sense of unease in her friend. Police arrived at Groves' address just after 8 a.m, following a tip-off from Baitup, who, despite her initial shock, acted swiftly, a decision that set the wheels of justice in motion. The scene that greeted the officers was one of calculated chaos, with Groves having attempted to clean the crime scene, evident from the overpowering smell of bleach and the meticulous placement of bin bags under Fitzgerald's body, a crude effort to manage the aftermath.
No, don't close the door. What's going on?
Sorry, the dog's...
No, don't close the door. What's going on? What's going on?
With what?
You Shay?
I am Shay.
Right. I've had some kind of strange, interesting call about somebody having had their throat slit.
Okay.
So what's going on here?
No, that's,
a dog,
that's
is it?
my dog's, yeah.
You're under arrest on suspicion of murder. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. The necessity for your arrest is for a prompt and effective investigation.
Groves, upon the arrival of the police, immediately confessed to the killing, stating, "I took a man's life." This admission, however, was layered with attempts to manipulate the narrative further, as she initially claimed self-defense, alleging Fitzgerald had attacked her. This claim, however, would not stand up to scrutiny during her coming trial. The trial of Shay Groves was a meticulous unraveling of the complex web of manipulation, deceit, and the dark motivations behind the murder of Frankie Fitzgerald. Taking place at Winchester Crown Court, the proceedings laid bare Groves' calculated actions before and after the crime, highlighting her manipulative tactics, both in her relationship with Fitzgerald and throughout her trial. Groves stood accused of murdering Fitzgerald in a frenzied knife attack, a crime she initially tried to mask with a concocted story of self-defense. Throughout the trial, the prosecution painted Groves as a manipulative, possessive, and jealous individual, driven to murder by a potent combination of jealousy and her deep-seated obsession with true crime. The court heard how Groves meticulously planned the attack, stabbing Fitzgerald 22 times as he slept, an act of violence that was both brutal and premeditated. One of the most chilling aspects of Grove's manipulation was her attempt to create a false narrative surrounding Fitzgerald's death. After committing the murder, Groves reached out to her friend, showcasing Fitzgerald's body via a video call and admitting to the crime while attempting to lay the groundwork for her alibi. This was a calculated effort to manipulate her friend into supporting her constructed version of events, showcasing a disturbing level of premeditation and manipulation. During the trial, Grove's manipulative nature was further highlighted by her constantly shifting the narrative. Initially, she claimed to have killed Fitzgerald in self-defense after he attacked her, a story that quickly unraveled under scrutiny. The prosecution revealed how Groves had sent messages post-murder to construct a false alibi, suggesting Fitzgerald had walked out on her, an attempt to deceive the authorities and escape responsibility for her actions. The court also delved into Grove's fascination with serial killers and true crime, an interest that had taken a dark turn from fascination to action. Her home, filled with memorabilia and books on notorious criminals, alongside the framed pictures of serial killers on her walls, served as a macabre backdrop to the crime she committed. This obsession, the prosecution argued, was not just a passive interest, but a significant influence on her actions, providing her with knowledge of how to commit and conceal her crime. As the trial progressed, she consistently attempted to portray herself as a victim of circumstance, leveraging her knowledge of criminal behavior to craft a narrative that might exonerate her. However, the evidence presented by the prosecution, including the brutal nature of the attack and Grove's subsequent actions, painted a starkly different picture. The trial of Shay Groves was a harrowing journey through the mind of an individual whose obsession with the macabre led to a real-life enactment of her darkest fantasies. Her manipulative and calculated actions, both in her relationship with Fitzgerald and in the aftermath of his murder, highlighted the dangerous intersection of obsession and reality, culminating in a tragic loss of life and a community left to grapple with the aftermath of her heinous actions. So that's it for today's bizarre story. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Should I continue covering true crime cases? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.